Hello everyone, my name is John Cottrell of MBODY Yoga in Salt Lake City, and welcome to Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. Welcome if it's your first time. I'm glad you're here. And if you are a returning student, great, always great to have you. So for our 60-minute practice, we're going to be needing props, and I'm really going to recommend that you have a blanket for this practice. We'll be using it for several reasons. One, we like to sit on it because it's nice and soft, but also we're going to be on our hands and knees for a couple of poses, and it's just a nice cushioning for your knee joints and your wrists. We're also going to be using it just for one of our main things. Actually, we're going to be focusing on upper body strength today. So we're going to be doing some poses that we're actually going to be holding, and it's just going to be nice to have some cushion underneath you. So go ahead and grab a blanket. And then the other things that you might want to have for your practice are a couple of yoga blocks if you happen to have them. But they don't have to be, specific yoga blocks. They can be a couple of hardback books like dictionaries or encyclopedias, something like that. They can even be a couple of pillows, small pillows if you want. And then if you want, this is completely optional. If you have a yoga bolster or a big cushion or pillow, this is just nice for your Shavasana practice. At the end when we're lying down and we're relaxing. If you just need extra support for your body, a bolster is always nice. Or again, just a big pillow. Alrighty, so we like to start our practice in a seated position. So here's your opportunity to sit on your soft blanket and sit maybe cross-legged. If that's uncomfortable for you, that's okay. You can always extend your legs. And for this first portion of our practice, we just like to sit in stillness. We get into our breath. So you're also welcome to maybe sit up against a wall or the back of a sofa perhaps, or the seat part of the sofa, or a chair, just so that we can get into our bodies and get reacquainted with our breath. So as you're situating yourself, you might start with a few deep breaths in and out. So you might breathe in through your nose. You can exhale through your nose or even exhale through your mouth. Inhale deeply through your nose and exhale. And do that several times. Again, just getting reacquainted with your breath. And then you can just settle into just slow, steady breaths in and out. This is our opportunity to move inside of ourselves, preparing our minds and our bodies for our moving practice, but also becoming more aware, in tuned, connected. So closing your eyes or even just softening your gaze, you might just gaze forward or even downward at the ground. Slow, steady breaths. And breathing in a way that you can feel your breath. For example, you just might feel how your body is responding to your breath. For example, your chest might expand as you inhale. And then listen to the sound of your breath. Just tuning in, becoming more present. This is also a nice opportunity to create an intention for your practice. And that might be something that you're working towards or working on currently in your life. Physically, we're going to be focusing on our upper body strength. Some poses that will hold together just to generate energy and power and strength. So if you're needing that in your life or in a situation that you're working in right now, maybe you are needing that extra support that comes from within. Slow, deep breaths. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths while you sit in stillness. We're going to add a very simple movement, which I call our moving meditation. When you're ready, inhale, extend your arms out across the room and all the way up towards the ceiling, completing the full inhale. Then begin your exhale and extend your arms out and let them float back down by your side. Very nice. Let's do that again together. Inhale, reach out. Good extension, nice energy in your arms, hands, and fingers. Then as you exhale, extend and reach outward. And then all the way back down, completing that full round of breath. Continue breathing on your own and moving on your own. So you might be moving a little slower than I am, or a little quicker. That's all okay. Just pay attention to your own breath, how your breath is moving your body, this nice attention that you're giving your body. As you reach outward with these extended arms, you want to feel as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you, and then maybe even reaching up to touch the ceiling. As you reach high, you might even feel a stretch sensation or lengthening down through the sides of your body. Notice your shoulders in motion. Very nice. Go ahead and complete the breath that you're on right now and take 2 more breaths. And when you're complete with your breath and movement, just come back to stillness. You might just let your arms rest down by your side, your hands can rest in your lap, and notice how your body shifts. It changes from that energetic movement of the body into this now relaxed state of stillness. While still seated, go ahead and bring your hands behind you. You can prop yourself up onto your fingertips. That might be nice if you happen to be sitting up on something like a blanket or a block, or onto your palms, whatever feels right for you. Just your arms behind you, and then just bring your shoulders back. You might feel your shoulder blades engaging behind you as your chest and heart space expands. And then tip your chin up just a little bit, like you're looking up towards the ceiling. Then as you inhale, press into the ground with your hands or fingertips, taking that full breath in, and feel the breath rise up, fill up your lungs. Very expansive feeling there. Then as you exhale, we're going to add a sensation. Draw your navel inward towards your spine. An engagement here. Again, breathing in, pressing into the floor, breath rising, fill up your lungs. As you exhale, pull belly in, and if you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Now you might feel more things in your body, more sensations arising as we just gently tip back. I call this a gentle back bend. Keep breathing. Still noticing when you exhale, drawing navel in towards your spine. We're just basically contracting the abdominal muscles. Now we'll be needing that and using that for some of our upper body strength postures today. Take 2 more breaths. And then you can just lower your chin to look forward, walk your hands towards yourself so you're sitting up nice and tall. And again, you can just rest your hands in your lap. Notice how your shoulders relax. Take a deep breath in and out, settling in. So that was our mild seated back bend. Now let's take a forward fold. If your legs happen to be crossed, we're going to uncross the legs and just form a new posture called cobbler's pose. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together so they're touching here, and then the knees are just bent at an angle. Another name for this posture is actually, it's bound angle pose. That's the real name of the pose, but the nickname is cobbler's pose. And then you might want to take your pillows or blocks or books, whatever you have here, to tuck underneath the legs so that your legs rest on those objects. And then holding onto your shins or ankles and kind of just hoist yourself up. Just leverage your body so you're sitting up as tall as can be is nice. That's an inhale when you do that. Then exhale, draw belly in and start to hinge forward just a little bit. You're leading with your heart and your chin. And if you can see me, you can see that I didn't move very far, just a slight angle in the upper body. Stay there. And then another full breath in, lengthening through the spine, fill up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in and hinge forward a tiny bit more. All the while paying attention to what's showing up in your body, meaning how does this feel as you start to fold forward in this seated position. Perhaps in this angled position, in the legs bent as they are, you might feel a stretch or sensation in your inner thighs. This is a nice hip release. You might keep the spine very straight, or you might even dip your chin down a little and even round your back. That might even allow you to go down a little further. You just want to go to a place where you have sensation, but knowing that you probably could hold this posture for a longer period of time, which means you don't want to force yourself too far or too deep in a pose where you would feel uncomfortable. Just to the place where, okay, now I feel the stretch and I can hold here and still take my slow, deep breaths. And since you're folded and if your back happens to be rounded, see if you can even breathe into your back body. Just as we breathe into the chest, in our mild back bend, now see if you can move or breathe into your back body while we're in a seated forward fold. Then go ahead and take 2 more breaths. If you did round your back and your chin is lowered, let's take this in slow motion. You're going to lift your chin so you can see forward. That will start that re-extension of your spine. For a little added support, you can place your hands on your mat and press to help lift yourself up until you're nice and tall. Again, you might hold on to your ankles and really feel that continued extension through your spine. Hold here for a moment, taking a breath or two. Very good. All right, we're going to move our props out of the way. So moving the blocks. We're going to swing around to get ourselves onto our hands and knees. Now you may want to still use your blanket here. And this is where you might want to protect and pad your wrists and your knees, something like this, for example. And just come to this neutral tabletop position. We're going to move into cat pose and cow pose. It'll start with an inhale, which is cow pose. You'll inhale and look up or forward. Let your back arch. It's like a little back bend or a U shape or a bowl shape. And then you'll exhale and tuck your chin in towards your chest. Let your back round and even pulling your belly button up towards your spine. Do that again. Inhale, arching the back. Your pelvis will tip back. Heart will open, looking forward. Exhale, round it all out, tucking your tailbone underneath. So there's a rocking sensation that's happening with the pelvis. So again, these can be gentle and slow. You don't have to overdo the rounding of the spine or even the back bend version of the pose, cow pose. Just some movement here, a nice undulation in the spine, movement in the pelvis. And as you're doing that, just pay attention to your hands and arms, because you have to really support yourself here. Your arms stay relatively straight as the rest of the body is moving, or at least your torso and pelvis are moving. And where your hands are and your arms are, we'll be using a similar kind of sensation in some of our other upper body strengthening positions. All right, let's take 2 more breaths. Just finish the breath that you're on now. And then come back to a neutral position, this tabletop posture. We're going to sit back briefly in child's pose. If you can sit all the way back, meaning your hips can come all the way down and probably touch the heels, that's fine, and extend your arms out in front. Now, if you aren't able to bring the hips all the way down, it's okay if they're lifted away from the heels just to protect your knees, and you can be on your hands, you can even be on your elbow, something like this. Okay? Really just taking a break from being on our hands and wrists. And just a few breaths here, just holding in stillness. So this pose with the hips up has a nickname. It's called puppy pose, or if you're sitting all the way back, we call that child's pose. Take 3 more breaths in this resting position. And then rise back up. And if you are using some padding, go ahead and crawl off of your pad here and set it to the side. Keep it handy because we'll be using that again. Make your way back to hands and knees, and we'll set up for our next pose right here. First, step your hands forward so your hands or your wrists are no longer directly underneath your shoulders. If you can see my arms here. Spread out your fingers too. That'll stretch out in between each finger. Press your palms firmly into the ground. Again, that firmness, good strength building, even in this position. This is a great upper body strengthening posture, just like this. But then we're going to tuck our toes. We're going to do cow pose. Inhale, look forward or slightly up, arching the back. Exhale into cat pose. Hold cat, that rounded spine position. And then lift your knees off the ground and your hips up into the air. This should guide you into an inverted V shape that we know as downward facing dog. Okay, hands are still pressing very strongly into the ground. Energy in your arms. Even imagine you have maybe a basketball or something lighter like a beach ball between your arms, and you're squeezing the beach ball between your arms. So feel that energy. And if you're looking straight down at your mat, just walk your feet forward enough until your feet are flat on your mat underneath you, and you'll be in a forward fold like this. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs, maybe to your shins, knees, or even your thighs, and extend your spine, only rising up halfway. We're going to hold here. This is just called half forward fold. So we're not all the way down, but we're not all the way up. We're just right in between. So a nice long spine like a table. You're flat on your feet. A slight bend in the knees here, but you might feel sensation in your hamstrings for support, as well as core engagement for support. We're going to stand up all the way in a moment. Start by shifting your weight into your heels. Bend your knees and feel like you're sitting down into a chair. This should allow you to free up your arms and take them out to the side. Drive your heels into the ground to straighten your legs. Stand up tall. Reach into the sky. There you go. Reach high. Exhale, bring your arms down and by your side. Right here. And this brings us to mountain pose. Feel free to maybe roll your shoulders or shake them out, even your hands and wrists. Actually do that for a little bit. Since we're going to be doing a lot of work on our hands, let's just be sure we're preparing our hands. So here's some things you can do. One, just circles like this, okay? Even opposite directions, okay? And then bringing your hands to a prayer-like position like this, and then just like spin the fingers toward your chest, your thumbs and fingers toward your chest, and then away. Something like this. Just forward and back. Okay? You're not pressing too hard. It's kind of a light touch. Elbows can be slightly bent here, but just this little rotation in the wrist. Do that a few times, and then this way. Okay? The tops of the hands and wrists together in that same little spin. Okay? Just a little massage for the joints and the ligaments there in the wrist area. Good. And just bring your arms down by your side and you can shake all that out. Okay, let's do another forward fold and come back up, taking our time. Whenever you're ready, join me. Inhale, reach into the air, stretch high. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into your imaginary chair. Going down slowly, let your hands drop, your head will lower, maybe touching your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up your legs until you come to a flat back like a table. This exhale, we're going to go back down. Maybe touching your toes, keeping the knees bent. This time, shift your weight slightly towards your toes, just a little bit, just to the point where you feel like you might even have to grip your mat with your toes so you don't fall over. This too will bring some energy into your legs. You can even release your head, give a little shake. Ready to stand, go ahead and shift your weight back now towards your heels. Bend your knees, feel like you're going to sit down, look forward, spread your wings, drive your heels into the floor, standing up tall, reach up high, another big stretch. Exhale, arms down by your side. Very good. Alrighty. Let's get ready for our variation of our Warrior One position that we like to do. Just adjust my mat here. So we'll just come to a standing mountain pose position. Nice even distribution of weight on both feet. Shoulders relaxed, slightly rolled down behind you, nice and tall. Let's begin with a slight bend in the knees and then shift your weight into your right foot. So you have your weight bearing on your right foot. And then with your left foot, just tap it back. Tap, tap, tap until you're just kind of touching the ground with your big toe back there. And then we're going to set the whole foot down and let the foot and leg just do a natural turn out to the left side. And now we've got a little distance between the feet. The right leg, the right knee is bent slightly, your toes are pointing forward. Place your hands on your hips, push your pelvis down in order to feel your torso get tall, nice and proud there, and even turn so you're mostly facing forward out over the right knee. Then we'll inhale and reach your arms up into the air, exhale, hold. So this is our variation of Warrior One, where there's a little bit of distance between the feet, so a slight lunge, a slight hip opener because this one leg is, or one foot is stepped back. Now to come out of the pose, you're going to hinge forward slightly, just lean forward, start shifting weight into your right foot. So it's easy for you just to step forward with the left, feet together now. Stand up tall, reach into the sky, exhale, bring your arms back down by your side. Shake that out if you'd like. All right, so just a very simple way of getting into our warrior position. Just a nice little warm up. Let's do the other side. Standing tall, slight bend in your knees. Start shifting weight into the left foot. Weight bear into the left foot. Tapping the right foot back. Balancing on big toe behind you. Just very natural. You don't have to go back too far. And then just set the right heel onto the ground. Leg will turn out at an angle. Left knee is bent, toes pointing forward. Hands on hips, push pelvis down so you can be as tall as can be, and then turn mostly so you're facing forward. There we are. Then inhale, reach both arms up into the air. We'll exhale, hold the posture. Just keep breathing in and out as we're holding our position. Again, our Warrior One variation. We will be doing this pose again, Warrior One, but we'll have more distance between the feet. And even just paying attention to your arms into the air, this takes upper body strength, just having suspended in the air like this. Okay, let's hinge forward, putting weight into the left foot, stepping forward with the right, then extend the body, standing up as tall as can be. Exhale, arms back down by your side. Very nice. Shake all that out if you'd like to. Shoulders, wrists again. And then we'll get ready for our sun salutation broken down, or piece by piece. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings. As you do so, bend your knees and fold forward, hinging at the hips, making your way down carefully. Take your time. Then inhale, slide your hands to your shins, knees, or thighs, extending your spine. As we exhale, fold, going down towards the ground. Bend your knees more, let the back round until your hands can touch the ground all the way. And then just step both of your feet back into plank pose. Immediately bring your knees to the ground. We're going to hold here for a moment. Some more upper body work. Just spread out your fingers, press palms firmly into the ground. Feel that energy in your arms again. Again, feel like you have that beach ball between the arms and you're squeezing it. See if you can maintain that. Inhale, cow pose. Okay, look forward, arch your back a little bit. Exhale, round it into cat pose. Hold cat pose, but keep breathing. Tuck your toes behind you, because we're going to lift the knees and extend the body. We're in plank. Okay, so you're still in a straight line. But I wanted you to set this up. First your hands, then your arms, and lastly your core. Navel pulling up towards spine to feel that support and engagement. Let's rest. Bring the knees down to the ground. Let's sit back into puppy pose or child's pose or even hero pose. Hero is just sitting up like this. Again, giving your wrists a rest, okay? You can go back to those little exercises we did earlier just to relieve them. You can do this anytime. At any time that we might be holding a pose too long and you need to give yourself a little rest, please do so. All right, a couple more breaths wherever you are. I'm just in hero pose and giving my wrists a little massage. And then whenever you're ready, come back to hands and knees. Step the hands forward, spread out your fingers, strong arms. Tuck your toes. Inhale, cow, look forward. Exhale, cat. Round it out. Then lift knees and hips right up into the air, downward facing dog. Keep a slight bend in your knees. That way your hips continue to rise up into the air and feel your hands press into the floor. From here, we're going to inhale and lift the right foot and extend the leg back, reaching for the wall behind you. It doesn't have to lift high. As you exhale, bend your right knee. Bring your right knee in towards your chin or chest as your whole upper body shifts forward so your shoulders are over your wrists like plank. And then set the right foot down onto the ground, just your toes. And then set your left knee onto the ground. This is going to allow you to free up your right hand, pick up your right foot, literally pick it up and place it up higher on your mat toes forward, and then re-lift the left knee behind you. We're going to turn the left heel to the ground. We're going to the second version of Warrior One. Put some weight back there on that left foot. You're going to rise up to your fingertips up front. This is going to help you lift your upper body a little. Your torso is kind of out over your right thigh. Then bring or walk your hands, both your hands up to your thigh, press into the leg to help extend spine at this 45-degree angle. Again, make sure your left foot's pressing firmly into the mat so you have good balance and leverage. Let's take the arms out to the side, rise up, reach up into the air. As you exhale, just bend this right knee a little bit more. This really helps you to settle into the pose. Okay, now we have that energy again of the arms reaching into the sky. We have more sensation in the legs, especially in the left leg perhaps, in the left hip flexor. Because we're in a Warrior One position, it opens up the hip. Okay, we have another hip opener. We're going to breathe in. You're going to exhale and turn your torso towards the left side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. Now we're in Warrior Two. Check in with your right knee, make sure it's still bent, and the knee is pointing forward. So it took out some of that sensation in the left hip flexor. Now you might feel this more in your right inner thigh, depending on how deep you're in this lunge. And more upper body strength because we have to sustain the hold of the arms outward like this. Just some good things to be mindful of. We do this pose all the time, and sometimes we don't always contribute it to upper body strength. Okay, side angle, we're going to reach forward. Follow me with this. We're going to do something a little different. You're going to bend your elbow at 90 degrees, your right arm at 90 degrees, tip so you can bring your forearm, your right forearm, to your mid-thigh and just kind of rest it there. And then bring left hand into the air. And then reach, okay? There's a reaching sensation, so there isn't a whole lot of weight of this arm on your leg. I call this paint the bench, okay? So there's no weight on the leg. Okay, it's just barely resting there. The sensation is up. And a nice opening for the whole front side of the body. Breathe in. Exhale as carefully turn towards the floor. Bend and bring your palms to the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press hands strongly into the floor so you can slide your right foot back. Now we've returned to plank pose. If you can, hold here, or if you need to, bring knees to the floor for the same posture. 3 more seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then bring knees to the floor if they're not already there. Take a break. Sit back, child's pose, puppy pose, or rise up to hero pose. Just giving the arms, your hands, your wrists a little break. Okay, we still have the other side to do, but we want to take a little break. If you're in child's pose, it's a nice little resting place. If you're there, just take some nice deep breaths. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths and we'll continue to do the other side. All right, make your way back up to hands and knees. Step the hands forward. We're just changing the alignment here so the wrists are out from underneath the shoulders. Spread out your fingers. Press palms firmly into the ground. Feel the energy and strength in your arms. More upper body strength. Tuck your toes. Cow pose. Look forward. Inhale. Exhale. Round it out. Cat pose. Then lift knees into the air. Downward facing dog. Make some adjustments with your feet if you need to, so you feel steady in the posture. Keep knees bent, hips high, hands planted into the floor. Squeeze your beach ball. Then inhale, extend left leg into the air behind you, reach through your toes. Exhale, bend your left knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chin or chest, shifting your upper body forward, shoulders over wrist. And then set the left foot, just your toes, on the ground. Right knee comes to the ground. Reach back with your left hand, pick up your left foot, place it up higher on your mat. Be sure your toes are pointing forward. Place your palm back down on the ground. Lift the right knee. Turn that heel to the floor. Put some weight back there. That means your hips kind of pull back. Get a little bit more energy back in that foot. What will help is actually rising up to fingertips, lifting upper body, and then walk your hands up to your thigh. Press into the thigh for support, extending the spine at this angle, and then add a little bit more pressure into the floor with your back foot. Feeling stable, hopefully. We'll inhale, take the arms out and up into the air. Exhale and lunge a little deeper. We'll hold. There is our energy, sustaining the arms in the air. Notice the hip opener, especially through the right leg, right hip flexor. A couple more breaths. We'll breathe in. We'll exhale, turn torso towards the right side of the room. Bring your arms down to parallel. You'll be reaching out over your legs. Warrior two. Good energy in the extension of the arms. Be sure your left knee and toes in front are pointing forward for nice alignment. And of course, the left inner thigh stretch. Okay, start reaching forward with the left hand. Angle the upper half of the body. We'll bend the left arm at 90 degrees. Rest it on your mid-thigh. And then extend your right hand up into the air. And with that added reach, it'll take some of the pressure off of the leg. Okay, that left arm is now light, and you can paint the bench. Good opening sensation. Couple more breaths. These two can be considered not only hip openers, but some more upper body work. Okay, breathe in. Exhale, we'll carefully turn towards the floor, bend. Place palms on the ground, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. This puts you in a runner's lunge. Push palms firmly into the mat. Strong body, upper body. Slide the left foot back. Plank pose. Once again, see if you can hold. In 3, 2, 1, and then we'll rest. Bring knees to the floor. As you're able, sit back into hero pose, and then slide off of your heels onto the mat. Swing the legs around to the front. Scoot forward so you're sitting in the center of your mat. We're going to lie down, take a break from the upper body for a moment, and get into a back bend. Here you might want to have some blocks or book, something to support yourself, because we're going to do a supported bridge pose. So go ahead and lie down. Lying down with knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And just take a moment and let everything relax, the whole body. Some deep breaths, because we've already been doing some good upper body work. We've also done some leg work. Just bringing more awareness and attention to our whole physical being. When you're ready, you'll take a nice full breath in, fill up your lungs. Exhale to engage your belly for some support. Press feet into the ground to help lift your hips into the air so you can get your blocks underneath you to sit on. And hold here. Now you're welcome to stay just like this, doing nothing else. Just kind of this lifted hip sensation, mild back bend awareness. But if we want to bring a little bit more energy to the upper body, plus some upper body strength, you can follow me. What we'll do is just kind of rock left and right a little bit with the upper body, and I'm literally walking my shoulders underneath me. Okay, and that's going to help to open and expand the chest. It's very similar to when we were seated and you brought your arms behind you. Your shoulders were behind you and it opened the chest. It's the same sensation. Okay? Now bend your elbows at 90 degrees so you can press the backs of your arms down into the floor. Now we're just pressing into the ground. You're still sitting on the blocks, but it's just bringing a little bit more awareness, attention, energy to the upper body. Okay, deep breaths. Do your best to fill up your lungs, again, just like we did earlier in our practice. That nice expansiveness. Exhaling, you might even still draw belly in. You really feel these sensations in your body. Three more breaths. After the third breath, we'll stay on our blocks for a moment, but you can relax your upper body. You can let your arms just come down to the floor. You can even get your shoulders out from underneath you and just stay a little bit more relaxed, propped up onto your blocks. Then two more breaths, kind of in this relaxed state of being. When you're ready, press feet into the ground so you can lift your hips to remove the blocks out from underneath you. And then we'll just lower our way down to the ground. Let's extend the body. Extend the legs out front. Reach your arms behind you if you have room. And reach and stretch in these opposite directions. You're going to hug both knees into your chest. And then carefully start rocking forward and back in order for you to sit up coming to a seated position. If that's a little bit too much to rock up and take a seat, you can always just roll to one side like this and just press yourself up and then just come to seated. Let's do our version of boat pose we like to do in this class. So you'll bend your knees, heels on the ground, feet flexed. Hold on to the bends of the knees here, and again, just lift yourself up until your spine is nice and straight. Inhale to do so. As you exhale, pull belly in. Again, we're engaging our abdominal muscles, but then start to lean back just a little bit so you're at an angle. Something like this will do. You don't have to go any further than this. And just hold. Again, we've done a variation of the full version of the pose. I like this version because I find we can actually hold the posture a little longer, which means we're getting more strong in this core area. You don't tire out as quickly. Always nice to pay attention to our core work, core energy, and even to enhance that as we're able. How about 3 more breaths here? And then we're just going to sit up nice and tall. Sit comfortably. You might just cross your legs. We're just going to do a little shoulder stretch here. Okay? So just sit. You can even sit on a blanket or block. I'm going to sit on a block, actually. Okay, so with your left arm, extend your left arm out to the side and just bring it across the body. Just feel where it just kind of naturally stops. For me, it's right about there. Then take your right arm and just do a little hook and just kind of hug it in, okay? And you're going to feel kind of this pull and maybe a stretch, it comes from the back part of the body, the rear part of the shoulder, and kind of around to the front. So you're just kind of hugging the arm in like that. A little stretch. Three more breaths. Then you can release the hook, reach out with the arm out front, then out to the side, and then back down by your side. You can even roll that out if you want. Whenever you're ready, take the right arm and extend it out to the side. Swing it around to the front until it crosses midline, coming to a natural stop. Then take the left arm, create a hook, and then just hug it in. And notice that stretch, how it kind of pulls from the back body round through the shoulder. We'll just hold that. What's nice about this is that you can kind of play with the sensation. You don't have to pull too hard. If it feels like, oh, that's uncomfortable, just then soften it up a little bit. You know, just to a place where, okay, I feel that and that feels fine. I don't have to feel like I'm forcing myself into this pose. All right, so a little shoulder work. Let's go ahead and release the hook, reach out in front, and then out to the side, and then down by your side, and roll that out. Okay, here's what we're going to do next. Let me just show you quickly what we're going to do in the props that you'll need. I'm going to suggest that you bring in at least one block or a book, okay, something that's stackable here, and then a blanket, something soft. Let me just show you what we're going to do. We're going to do a side plank, which means we're going to be balancing on this arm that we just stretched out, this shoulder that we just worked. Let me show you. So I'm just going to lie down. I call this just the lounging position, kind of like this. Lounging, and I've got my arm at a right angle underneath me, just like this. You can even change this angle by moving your hand if you need to. Okay, and just kind of prop yourself up. Now with the top leg, this is my left leg, I'm going to lift it, bend the knee, and place the foot in front of my extended leg. I'm going to use the arm and foot for leverage because I'm going to lift the hip and slide this block underneath it, right there. And basically, this is the pose. Now we could do this without any of these props and just kind of hang out here, but we're going to keep it mild by using this variation. Okay, so join me on either side, doesn't matter which side that you start on, and come to your lounge position. Okay, so your shoulder, or your elbow, sorry, your shoulder is over the elbow. Elbow and forearm and hand are on your blanket, just like this. You're sideways here. The top leg, you're just gonna lift, bend, knee is pointing towards the ceiling, foot comes down in front of the extended leg. You're going to use your foot and your elbow to press and lift. With an exhale, slide a block underneath you. You can even have 2 blocks if you wanted. And sit. And just stay sideways with an energy of the arm pressing into the ground. Good breathing. Your inhale just to feel breath rise up to fill up your lungs. Exhaling to engage belly. But because we're sideways, we're also engaging the obliques here. More core strengthening, and we've got some upper body work happening at the same time. All right. 3 more breaths. Very good. Okay, let's go ahead and relax. We're going to lift the hips so we can get the block out from underneath, come back up to seated so we can just kind of get everything back to neutral, the weight off that one arm, and we're just going to do the other side. So this is just our side plank pose variation. We're going to do another version of a plank pose in a moment after this one though. Okay, so set up your other side. You can just spin around. I just moved my blanket, so I'm still facing you. Come to your lounge position, just on your hip, sideways here. Shoulder, arm at a nice right angle. You got your block ready. Lift your top leg, bend the knee, place the foot on the ground, so you can use that leverage. Push into the ground, lift, slide your book or block underneath you, and here you are. Energy of this, it's really kind of this shoulder, chest, upper back region that's activating here as you're pressing into the floor just to keep the upper body up. Inhaling, feeling breath rise to fill up your lungs. Exhaling, which engages the belly, but you might even feel a little bit of sensation on your underside here in the oblique region because it's helping you to stay sideways. Very nice. 3 more breaths. Excellent. You can start to relax, pressing into the ground with the foot and elbow so you can remove your block. Come back up to seated for a moment, just so that we can come back to kind of a neutral posture. You can even just shake out your shoulders. And as you're resting there, you can get a sip of water, but let me show you our last pose for upper body strength. We're going to do plank pose. We've been doing plank. Let me show you. We've been doing plank obviously like this, but now we're going to do plank on our elbows. So again, you might want to use your blanket here. So let me just show you quickly. So you're going to bring your arms or elbows to the floor. Right now, my arms are parallel to one another. You can do that, but if that feels a little uncomfortable for your joints, like your shoulders or elbows, you can just bring your hands in together and it forms more like a triangle. They're both correct. I'm stepping my knees back. I'm just demonstrating so you can just watch. I'm stepping my knees back. Toes are tucked here. With an exhale, engaging my belly,
I'm just going to lift the knees off the floor like this, extending the spine. Pushing into the floor or into my blanket with my forearms. Okay, and then I'm going to rest. Okay? What you may find is that this is a little bit more challenging than just being on your hands. You would think it'd be easier, but actually you engage more of your core system when you're on your elbows. Okay, let's give it a try. So we've got your blanket out there ready to go. Arms come down to the ground on your pad. Keep them parallel or bring the hands in a little closer. Your knees might be directly underneath your hips. If that's the case, step the knees back a little bit. Tuck your toes. Inhale, fill up your lungs. Exhale, engage your belly, and then lift the knees. And maybe as you can, draw a straight line through the body. And it's okay if the hips are a little high here. You're pressing into the floor, mostly through your forearms and hands. If there's too much pressure in your elbows, just kind of shift forward a little bit and put more pressure up towards hands. Now, can you feel this? I certainly can. If you need to rest, come down. We're going to see, I'm watching the clock. We're going to see if we can hold this for 15 more seconds. I'm watching the clock. That's about, it's almost 10 breaths. Well, not really. It's more like 5 breaths. We're almost there. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And we're resting. Knees can come down. And then take your child's pose or puppy pose. Deep breaths here. Feeling all that tension start to kind of wash away, and use your breathing effort to do that, because that takes a lot of energy to hold that posture. Okay, and guess what? We're going to do it one more time. Okay, we'll take another rest here. Finish your resting period, and then we'll do that. I call it dolphin plank, and I'll explain why in a moment. All right, 2 more breaths. All right, come up maybe to hero pose, or you can even start to bring your arms out onto your pad again, something like this. Now before we get into the full posture, let me show you dolphin pose. We're not doing this today, but I just want to show you dolphin. So this is dolphin. It's almost like downward facing dog, but you have your elbows on the floor, but your hips are in the air. And of course you know plank pose. Okay, which is here, and we've also done another version of plank. So I call it dolphin plank, because you're using the dolphin arm formation, but you're in that straight line, okay? So let's go again. Elbows come to the ground. Arms can be parallel, or bring hands closer together. Step your knees back. And already feel weight shifting away from elbows up towards hands. Tuck your toes. When you exhale, engage your belly, pull belly button up towards spine, lift your knees, straight line or mostly straight. Again, it's okay if the hips are a little bit up. Push down into the ground with your forearms and hands. Try to put less pressure in the elbows. There's also a squeezing sensation. It's a little bit more, it's subtle because you're pressing down, but you're trying to also squeeze to center. All right, see if we can hold for another 15 seconds starting now. I'm watching the hand on the clock. 10 seconds. If you're shaking, that's okay. And if you need to come out of the pose, that's okay. We got 3, 2, 1, and we are done. Nice. Take a rest. You can feel that change in the body from very energetic engagement to a softening and disengagement of the muscles. Deep breaths. Here's another version of child's pose if you'd like to take it. What I'm doing here is I brought my block in. I'm resting my forehead on the block. And rather than extending my arms out front, because that brings more energy to the arms, I'm bringing arms down by my side like this. And I can let the shoulders just literally drop and relax. More deep breaths. Let's take 5 more breaths here. We're going to make our way to relaxation, completing our practice together. Take your time. Don't have to rush. And if you're still in your child's pose, you can stay there a few more breaths if you'd like. Just eventually make your way down onto your back. We'll do some work on our back. Arrange your props the way you like them. You might want to sit on a blanket or have it for your head. And at first, just make your way back down onto your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor, so everything, especially the upper body, can release and relax. We're going to do one more supported bridge pose. Whenever you're ready, no rush. Have your blocks ready to go, and exhale to press feet into the ground. Lift your hips, slide your blocks underneath you. One is fine. And again, rest. If you'd like, you can get the shoulders underneath you, but not necessary at this point. So maybe just contemplating our work. So we did some very formative upper body postures, holding ourselves up, using our upper bodies. But then there was other poses that we do all the time that make use of our upper bodies. Things like Warrior 2 or Warrior 1, when your arms are extended, either outward or upward. That takes energy and strength too. All right, if you're in this supported bridge pose, you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to add an inversion, you can extend your legs into the air. You can do one at a time, one leg at a time, or both at the same time. You choose. I'm going to take both my legs up. I like to hold for a few seconds just with energetic legs reaching into the air, and then maybe a little bend of the knees, and then add some motion. Just get the joints moving here, knees, your ankles, even your hips. So I do a little bicycle pedaling movement here. Kind of get into the legs a little bit. I like to circle the ankles, especially when the feet are free. In a posture like this, good opportunity to get some movement in the feet. Just think about, if you're standing all day or walking, or you do a lot of running or walking, things like that. A lot of pressure on the feet and ankles. Three more breaths wherever you are. And if your legs were extended in the air, you can bend the knees, bring your feet back down. Press into the ground with the feet, lifting your hips to remove your blocks. Bring your hips down to the mat. Hold there for a moment. And then even hug knees into chest. Let's take a twist. Taking the knees over to the left side to begin. Extend your right arm off to the right side. Very nice. 3 more breaths. And when you're ready, you can bring knees back up to center. Even pause there for a couple of seconds just to realign the spine. And then take the knees down to the other side, gently. Use props here if you need to. If the legs don't go all the way down to the floor, or if the legs don't touch, when you come to the twist, use your blocks or a pillow, just so there's that support that you need. And 2 more breaths. When you're ready, just return to center. You might do one more hug of the knees into your body. And here you might decide what restorative or relaxing position you like to move into. That might be Shavasana, so extending the legs out in front of you onto the floor, arms resting down by your side. But you have your wonderful props you can use to help support your body. Use your blanket underneath your head or hips, maybe a pillow for your head or back body, or even something to elevate your legs and feet. Anything that would feel good for you in these last few minutes. And as you're finding yourself drifting into this relaxed state of body and mind, go back to your personal intention. And if you were in need of some strength, energy, power, anything of that sort, just once again recall your practice. Integrate what you did today into your intention. Continue to be aware of your breath. And you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I close the practice, you can stay right here. And when it is time to move, start with some deep breathing, maybe 5 slow, deep breaths. And as you're taking these deep breaths, you can feel the energy move into your body. A renewed energy flowing through you. And after your 5th breath, move in slow motion. Maybe bend the knees so you're on your feet, so you can easily roll to one side. You can hold there for a couple breaths if you'd like in this nurturing pose. And then with another new breath, in your hands, pressing yourself up to seated. Sitting on a blanket or block if you'd like. Sitting up nice and tall. Arms can just rest down by your side. Hands can relax in your lap or on your knees. One more movement together. Let's inhale, extend your arms out and all the way up. Big stretch, reach high, good. Exhale, bring your hands together and down to your heart. And once you're here, take another deep breath in and out, then hold in stillness. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.